Hello ladies and gentlemen and all you beautiful people in between. My name is Philip, aka Belazor, and I'm the Programming Director of DragonByte Technologies. I'm here to talk about a new update to our eCommerce mod for Zen 402. This is Beta 2, which will feature, as you might have seen on the screen here, physical products. Before I go into any of the details, I should warn you that this is not going to be a full replacement for one of those external third-party hosted e-commerce solutions such as Shopify. Those products have had hundreds of thousands of man hours of work put into them, and I don't have that amount of time, so you won't find super complex SKU and weight and integration with third-party shipping services and all of those super advanced features that you might find in those products. You won't find that here. This is intended to be nice and easy to set up, nice and easy to use, and yeah, so if that is what you're looking for, then you might want to just stop the video right now and rather look into those third-party solutions. With that said, let's go into the options, because there are a couple of new options which we will find here. First of all, shipping weight unit, which you can choose pounds or kilos. This is because the shipping methods do support weight being used in the calculation of the shipping cost, so that's useful for that. And also you have the shipping weight alert destination, which can either be to the seller or to the forum's contact email address. Now the reason for this option is the fact that if you're using a bot user, as we're using on DBTech, to sell our products, that user might not have an email address associated with their account, in which case this setting, actually if it doesn't have an email address, this setting won't matter. It will always go to the forum contact, but if you want, you can choose it to always send to the forum contact email address, or go to the seller email if that's relevant. That being said, we have two new features here, and also we have some integration in the product menu, but we'll go down to shipping methods first. And as you can see, I have set up two testing shipping methods here. The first of which is using a bit of a complex formula to calculate shipping costs. This is just random values I use to test. And the second is a flat value. So if we look at this one first, excuse me, as you can see here in the cost formula in the description, if you want to pause the video and read that text, you'll find that you have three replacement variables available, and they will be used to substitute actual values based on the order itself. And the shipping methods will be tied to shipping zones, and shipping zones will be tied to products. So if we do go into shipping zones here, I see I've set up two testing ones, domestic and international. For domestic, you can choose which, or for a shipping zone, you can choose which shipping methods you want to use. So for instance, if you want to have different costs for different shipping methods depending on shipping zones, you can just select the ones that are applicable here. So if you had a first class tracked next day delivery, you might want to only include that in the domestic one, because next day delivery international is a bit unrealistic unless you have invented teleportation, in which case you are going to be rich. So in the included countries, you'll see all of the countries. These are all countries that are included in the modification, and they are kept automatically up to date in the background, so you won't have to manage any of them yourself. And for this domestic, I've only selected the UK because, as you may be able to hear from my accent, that is where I live. And for international, all I did was just select everyone, every single country. So shipping methods and countries are tied into a shipping zone, and if we then go into a product and go into the test physical product, which as you can see has a lot of information in it, you will first of all see options for physical products. And actually, before we go into that, let's take you back to the product list, because you'll see that I have split up the button for adding products into adding digital and physical. Because if you used beta 1, you might have noticed that there was an option to change the product type on the edit product page or the add product page, but it was disabled for physical products. The reason for that, the reason for this change, is the fact that I found it to be a bit tricky to allow someone to enter the new types of information that's required for a physical product. If you were converting it to digital, you'd have to save it and then edit it again, which doesn't make any sense. So now you flat out cannot change the product type once it's been set. So if you have digital products, and as you can see down in the URL there, it will tell you what product type it is, and that'll be carried on. So anyway, as we were back here in the physical products options section, you have product variations. Now, I have not named these very informative names, but for instance, what you can do is you can name them things like XXL or XL or L or something like that if you're selling shirts, or if you're even selling color variations to the same sizes. You can just add as many variations as you like and name them whatever they should be. And you have the cost, which is the same as the different one. The stock, which will actually decrement automatically once someone actually completes a payment. It will reduce the stock. If someone then cancels the payment after it's been completed, like they open a dispute with PayPal or whichever other payment processor you're using, the stock will not automatically go back up, for the simple reason that if you have already shipped the item, then them cancelling the payment isn't going to magically bring the item back to you. They will actually have to send it back, or hopefully not having it stolen, but things happen, you know how people are. And also for the weight here, that's used for the shipping calculations. And here you have the ability to select the shipping zones. So if you want to not have a particular shipping method available, you would create a shipping zone that doesn't contain that shipping method, and then select the shipping zone here. I only have the shipping zones here instead of having both the shipping methods and the countries selectable here, because most of the time, if you're selling a lot of items, like you're selling a lot of different shirts, you may have 20, 30 different prints of a shirt, it could be quite bothersome to have to set up the same configuration for domestic or international shipping separately here for every single product. You'd have to have 30 products with the same configuration, so that's why we just have the shipping zones as a sort of a configuration collective, as it were. So if we then move on to the front end, we can have a quick look before we go to the checkout screen. You can have a quick look at this physical product here, and as you could tell from the admin CP, this testing's out of stock, so that's why that will be marked there. And if we purchase it, you'll see that they cannot select this one because it is out of stock, and it'll tell you the name of the shipping zone. So I do recommend that you name them something informative, and they'll be able to see the available stock there as well. So if you then go back to the checkout screen, you will have noticed that you can in fact purchase digital and physical products in the same order, which is quite nice. For the physical, you have the additional link here to choose your shipping method, and it will estimate the shipping cost based on, if we go back here to the shipping method, and the formula gets parsed on this little screen, and it will then give the estimated shipping cost. But since the formula can change based on the number of items, because if you're selling shirts, if someone buys 3 shirts, you don't want to charge them $15 per shirt for 3 shirts. That doesn't make any sense. So that's why you have the ability to use a formula to reduce the price per item, and it will estimate the cost there. And before we actually select the shipping method, just so I can show that off, if we then try to proceed to payment without having chosen a shipping method, you'll get an error message, because it wouldn't make sense to allow you to submit payment without telling you how to ship it. So then if we select the shipping method there, it will display you have chosen the test shipping method, and obviously a link to change it, and the shipping cost will have increased, the total order total will have increased, and you can also obviously change the shipping method as you want and see the order total update, and then you would be able to submit payment, and I'm not going to do that because that would display my email address. Excuse me. Under the shipping address here, since I didn't show the full process from start to finish, it's basically the same thing. You get to choose your billing address and your shipping address separately, and once a payment is completed, it will email whoever you chose in the option that we had back here for seller or form contact address. It will email them with the item and the shipping method and the shipping address of the person who purchased the product. Excuse me. So you will receive 1 alert per item. So if you have sold 3 items, then you will receive 3 separate alerts. The reason for this is, given that this is a collection of products that you can buy from multiple different sellers, it would be a little bit tricky to try and collect that into separate email. So for now, we just have 1 alert per item. For physical products only, it does not affect digital products because they don't need any alerts. So the seller will then receive the alert and will be able to reply to the email directly to contact the user, the forum user, to let them know that the item is shipped. And yeah, as you can tell, it doesn't have the full range of features of Shopify, but I would like to think that it is nice and easy to work with and will serve the hobbyist forum quite well. So if you have any thoughts, comments, feel free to leave them in either of the threads that I'm going to be posting this video in. I will be building a release of this and putting it out on our website, not for download or purchase, but just to test that I haven't accidentally broken anything else while I was creating this. So this should be released in about a week or 2, depending on whether or not we've discovered any major problems, or if I get raving negative feedback on this, which hopefully I will not do. But you know, if you have comments, try and be constructive. It's always nice. But yeah, in either case, it should be released within a week or 2, hopefully. Thank you very much for watching, and see ya.